The topic of this video is from Unit 3C on conditional probability. When we compute the probability of event F, given that event E has already occurred, we call this the conditional probability of F given E. The notation that we use is given in the second bullet, capital P for probability. The vertical line straight up and down between F and E indicates this is a conditional probability of event F given that E has already occurred. Now, if E and F are events in a sample space with equally likely outcomes, then the probability of event F given that E has already occurred is equal to the fraction where the numerator is equal to the number of outcomes in the intersection of events E and F, and the denominator is the number of outcomes in event E. So for our first example, we're drawing a single card from a standard deck of 52. We want to find the following. First of all, we're going to find the probability of choosing a jack given that we've chosen a red card. So we already know that we have a red card, so our sample space has actually been narrowed just to the red cards. So there are 26 of those. So that number goes in the denominator. But what about the number in the numerator? That's the overlap between jacks and reds. So how many cards in the deck are jacks and red at the same time? Right? And there are two of those, the jack of hearts and the jack of diamonds. So this fraction reduces to 1 divided by 13. Now the second probability of choosing a king given that you've chosen a face card. So you already know that what you've drawn is a face card. So your sample space has been narrowed to 12. Now of those 12 cards, how many are kings? So that's the overlap between king and face cards, and there are 4 of those. So that reduces to 1 divided by 3. Now notice how on both of these examples I completed the denominator first. That's the part that's given. And then I completed the numerator, the overlap between the two events. Now let's look at an example where the data is summarized in a table. This summary gives the results from the sinking of the Titanic. You're choosing one passenger at random, and we want to find the following probabilities. So we're first of all going to find the probability of choosing a woman given that the passenger survived. So in the denominator, we're going to put the given that part, given that the passenger survived. So how many passengers survived? 706 goes in the denominator. Now of those 706 passengers, how many were women? That's the 318. Remember, the 318 is the overlap between the woman column and the survivor row, the 318. So this reduces to 159 divided by 353. On the second question, find the probability of choosing someone who died given that the passenger was a man. So given that the passenger was a man, that's the total that goes on bottom. So how many men total were there? 1,692. Now of those men, how many died? That's the 1,360. Remember, the numerator is the overlap between those who died and those who were men. And then the denominator is the conditional part of just the total here of the men. So this reduces to 340 divided by 423.